What's up, you guys? Welcome to the developer interview here on Without Parole. My name is Brian Paul. You guys know who I am, but you might not know who this guy is. This is Eric Thullen from Ancient Dungeon fame. What do I call you? The CEO, the creator, the lead developer, the only person who made the game? Did you make it all by yourself? I've got so many questions, Eric. Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Eric. I guess I'm the founder. That's, I guess, the best word for it. Yeah, I didn't make it all by myself. It started as a solo project, but it is not anymore since a long time already.
Okay.
But yeah, that's me. I made Ancient Dungeon.
Nice. All right.
And
Well,
yeah.
I have so many questions about Ancient Dungeon, the past, the present, and the future. But I really do want to know more about you because when I was playing through Ancient Dungeon, I felt a kinship. I was like, this guy knows video games. Right? It just immediately felt good to play. It was so fun. It had all these staples that I was looking for. And I just absolutely loved it. Famously, 10 out of 10 on Without Parole. Give very few 10 out of 10s out. It's like you and Madison and like Resident Evil games. I think that's about it. Because of that, I want to know more about you as a person and as a gamer. So let's go back all the way to the beginning and tell me where gaming begins for you. Like, what did you play on PCs or consoles? What was it like growing up for you?
I actually never had a console. Like, no PlayStation, no Xbox. I think I had a Game Boy Advance. I think that was like my first thing I got. And then, what was it? Super Mario 2, I think. It's like the first game on like a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, Super Mario Advance 1 was Super Mario 2, right? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, it was kind of weird, but it was the one with like the four different characters, but you could choose like Luigi, Peach, and yeah,
that's the one.
I think it was like so. Yeah, it was a great game. Yeah, Nintendo DS a bit later, but then mostly PC all the way. I never really needed a console, never really wished for one. So yeah, I never really played on a console back in the day.
And did you kind of like tinker with like game design back then, or want to do it, or was that something that kind of came later?
Probably like forever, yeah. I mean, I never really did like any project that turned into anything, but it was like mostly hobbying. I did Minecraft mods like when I was 13. That's kind of how I started
to make sense, right?
Yeah,
starting to make sense because Ancient. I mean, come on. The first thing everybody says when they see Ancient Dungeons voxel art style, they're like, "It's like Minecraft but VR," and I was like, "Well, is it though?"
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that everyone compares it to Minecraft when it's like more inspired by games that Minecraft was also inspired by, like basically the old SNES retro style graphics, which I just completely love. But I mean, it's a good thing to be compared to a good game, so I don't really care that much.
I mean,
yeah.
I couldn't stop feeling Spelunky when I was playing it. Right, I've got a Spelunky addiction that goes back to like when Spelunky first launched. I've got probably 1,000 hours in that game, and there's so many similarities between Ancient Dungeon and Spelunky. Please tell me that those comparisons are warranted. Do you have any experience?
I've never played Spelunky.
No!
I think I've played it like I've played it. I think like a few years ago for like a really short time because it was it in the Game Pass or something? I don't remember, but I just played it a bit, but never really got into it. I guess Binding of Isaac is probably the game you could compare Ancient Dungeon to most, because nice. I've played hundreds of hours of Isaac, and it's basically how I made this game by like saying, okay, why is there no good roguelike that plays like Isaac in VR? That's kind of how it started.
Another great game, by the way. Absolutely. I've probably not. I'll say dozens to play it safe, but probably we're up to hundreds of hours in Binding of Isaac. I love that game too.
Yeah, it's an amazing game. I think it's one of my favorite games ever.
Nice.
Or like least one of the games I played the most and like really got addicted to. At least games that kind of compared to the game now. I mean, back then I played like RuneScape and all like Assassin's Creed, Hades, Hollow Knight, Minecraft, like all like kind of similar games. Like roguelikes, like I played so many roguelikes just because they're always fun. I don't know. It's an amazing genre.
Yeah. A little. It's starting to feel a little overdone, right, on the flash and VR. But I feel like Ancient Dungeon stuck in there at just the right moment. It was like, hey, there's still room for good ones.
Yeah, I think back then I don't even know if there were any roguelikes. At least how the Ancient Dungeon plays. I think like 2018. That's kind of like when the game has been in development for far too long. I mean, back then it was just a hobby project. Like, it didn't really get that much time per day, like being developed. I guess development really only started like when COVID started. But yeah, back then I think there was like Legend of Luca was like I think the only roguelike I remember, and maybe In Death Unchained is also a pretty old one.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a great game, yeah. But there wasn't really a lot, and like if they were roguelike, they were more like had like tiny roguelike elements and not really like big ones with like meta progression and everything. Like now there's like way more games that do this, but back then I don't think there were any games that could compare to it. Which was kind of interesting because I mean there were like tons of shooters already, but like why did no one make any of these games? It's kind of interesting.
All right, so I got to ask them why did you make this for VR, right? And this I think this is a question I've got to ask all VR developers, because clearly if you were chasing the money, you would go where there were tens, if not hundreds of millions of gamers instead of a couple million. So why VR? What was the reason for that?
So the initial idea was that like I did like 2 mobile games with friends before that, who never those games never really made a lot of money, but they were kind of popular back in the day. They don't really exist anymore because we never updated them. But mobile gaming, even back then, was still, I don't know, it's like microtransactions, loot boxes, free to play ads, really annoying. And then VR came about. Like I got the Vive, like I pre-ordered it because I saw a video of it where someone was playing Tilt Brush. And I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing. How is this tracking so accurate? I only had a Google Cardboard before that, and that wasn't really comparable, but it was still fun. And then I just wanted to create a small thing that doesn't even necessarily need to make money, but I was still in university, so I was like, okay, just do some small 3 or 4 month project. And I tinkered around with a few ideas, but nothing really got to any state of being released. But then I basically did Ancient Dungeon. But after 3 months, like it was nowhere near in any state you could play it. But then I started like posting some GIFs on Reddit, and just grew from there. Like it wasn't really an intention of actually making money off of it. I just wanted to release something maybe on Steam with like a small price tag in like a niche that I was interested in. And then it kind of developed into, okay, maybe it's not a bad idea to be in a niche that's really small but doesn't have any competition. Because I feel like you can do like a 7 out of 10 game in a VR niche that's not really that big. And we will probably make more money than a 7 out of 10 game in flat screen, where you compete against like Game of the Years for like 20 years, which like a 7 out of 10 game doesn't sell well on flat screen. Maybe it does, maybe not, but I guess it's kind of similar in terms of difficulty to like stand out.
Yeah, and I think we've said it a dozen times on the show that a 7 out of 10 game on the flat screen feels like a 9 or a 10 out of 10 sometimes in VR, right? Just because of the inherent added immersion. It's more fun.
And also the expectations are lower. Like if you have an 8-hour campaign in VR, everyone's like, I mean, it's decent. But if it's an 8-hour campaign on flat screen, it's like, oh my God, this game doesn't have any content. And I'm not saying that we should like aim lower for VR games, but it is definitely easier. And like people look over more like mistakes, or like are more lenient in terms of reviewing, and like they know what, like it's a small market. You can't expect huge AAA quality in every game. So that's probably a good thing.
I didn't expect so many questions to be rolling in the chat already, so I think I'm going to break away from current questions, and let's answer some of these real quick. And a shout out to Luke Sparling, by the way, with the Canadian $28, who kicked off the stream with a tip. Says love a good dev interview. Thanks to Brian and Eric both for taking the time. Can't wait to listen. Thank you, Luke Sparling. Your support is very much appreciated. We've got, who do we have in the chat? Everybody in the chat, leave your questions. We're going to try to get to as many as we can here. Zentoshi says, which monster in Ancient Dungeon do you regret creating the most?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, the face slime is probably the one that gets the most hate, like the one in the library. But I feel like it's a good enemy in terms of you can't just swing a sword anymore. You actually need to like learn the movements because they're not that difficult if you just rock in circles. They will most likely never hit you. But it gets a lot of hate in the Discord or in the communities where it's like, this is such a shitty monster. But then like mostly the community is like, yeah, it's just a skill issue. Like people defend the design of the enemy, but when I did it, when I like tried fighting it the first time, I also was like, oh god, this might be too difficult. But you kind of get used to the VR movements. I mean, I think VR movement has gotten a lot more lenient in the last few years. I mean, back then when we started, we're still like, oh, can we even do smooth movement? Like teleport movement is the default. Climbing, oh no, and like do we need to show a comfort vignette? But everything of this has kind of been thrown out of. Like there's like no gorilla tag and like movement. It doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sorry, Chad. I gotta ask my own question right now because there's something that I didn't even have this prepared, but it has been a question that I ask every single time I play the game. And I probably asked it multiple times during my last 7-hour Ancient Dungeon stream while I was trying to get the flail and still didn't get all the pieces.
It was an amazing stream. I watched it.
What?
It was awesome.
I can't believe this is the first time we've talked, right? Because I love your game so much and I rave about it all the time, and I gave it a 10 out of 10. And I was like, oh, the dude probably never watches the show. He probably doesn't even know that like we gave it a great review. Like we just figured you were just MIA completely. So that's very cool.
Nope.
But my question is this: why are there spikes usually blocking you from a treasure chest that you can teleport over? But there's no jump button or any way to just do it. So you have to like go into the options, switch to teleport over, grab your treasure, then teleport back, and then switch to full locomotion again. What is this? What is this nonsense?
It's basically, basically an oversight. Basically, like those spikes back then. Like the idea was just okay. We just like do spikes, and then like people can like see if they want to sacrifice half a heart to like get the loot that's behind there. And then we like. I think on the to-do list for like multiple years now, there was like a thing of, okay, we need to actually put in a blocker that you can't do teleport movement over these spikes. But like the priority of doing this is so low because first and foremost, it was a single player game back in the day. Like if people want to cheat, okay, then like cheat and put in teleport movement. But yeah, it's just something that's been on the list, but it's such a low priority to actually fix. That it's not intended. Basically, you shouldn't be able to teleport there. But then the issue is, okay, how do you get there if you can't use teleport movement? Then you need to kind of still teleport there, but then like artificially damage the player because you've kind of walked over the spikes. So it becomes a bit more difficult by actually finding out, okay, now you like walk there. Is there a spike in the way? And it almost feels too much work to actually. It might be like an hour or two of implementation, but that's like an hour or two of things on like that you could spend working on something else. Like the to-do list is just growing. It's been growing for years. The game will never get finished at this point. But that's why the game is basically like that's why the game allows you to teleport over it. It's basically an oversight.
Listen, that's as good of an answer as any. And it's really funny that you've got all these other priorities that are superseding it. I wish I could see a list of things that you've got planned.
We do have a public Trello page with like a rough roadmap. With like some of the things on there. It changes all the time, but there's like tons of things on there that are planned.
We're going to jump around a little bit, but I want to stay on this topic as much as I can for the time being. VR Trooper 21 with the £2 says, will you do a sequel and how will you improve Ancient Dungeon? And so before we talk about a sequel, I really need to know, is it paying off to do like all these massive updates where you're introducing new weapons and new enemies and in the arena mode and all these different things that like feel like they're doubling the size of the game, tripling the size of the game, giving you all sorts of new stuff to do, keep on giving people who've already bought the game so many more reasons to go and spend another dozen hours in it. But is that also resulting in more sales? Is it working out that way?
Well, somewhat. Like whenever we do an update, we do get more sales for like a short period of time because people jump back in. Then, especially on Quest, I guess on Steam as well, the algorithm kind of picks that up. That like there's more interest, and it gets shown to more people. But I guess realistically, it doesn't make sense to do it that way. But the game is doing decent and pretty well for like the past 4 years, so there was never a reason to stop updating. In a way, like the game is still considered early access on Steam. For some reason, which is kind of an arbitrary label, I guess. But yeah, the development also wasn't supposed to take this long. But then, like, I don't know, the game released, there were no expectations. I mean, we had a decent amount of wish lists on Steam, but we didn't really know how well it would do. So, and then like things kind of started coming in. Like there were a few updates. And then people were asking about multiplayer. Like we had a bot in the Discord that just replied to any multiplayer question because it popped up so often. And I always said to see people, no, we won't do multiplayer. It's just too much work. But then we did. And it took like 1.5 years, basically, of rebuilding the game for multiplayer. And then like the PSVR 2 launched, and then people were like, "Oh yeah, what about the PSVR 2?" And like, "Yeah, we could do that." And like it just keeps piling up, and there's more ideas and ideas. But there was never a reason to stop because the game, it isn't selling as well as it did 2, 3, 4 years ago. But it's still like the baseline is really solid. So as long as the baseline holds, there's no real reason to stop updating. I mean, there's a kind of general idea and plan to like actually do a full 1.0 release and maybe do paid DLC afterwards. Or maybe, I don't know, a supporter DLC with like cosmetics or something at some point. Just so we can continue doing this for as long as we can. But yeah, it's probably not the smartest idea to just basically release free updates forever, but I don't know, I have like this kind of vision in the game how a 1.0 release should look like, and we're getting closer to it, but it's still not there. So,
all right, let me share my vision, because my vision is a whole town of NPCs and shopkeepers and stuff where you buy things, and it's and then once you leave the town, it's sort of like the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, right? Where it's like you just go and explore, and it's this massive open world, but it looks like Ancient Dungeon, right? And so part of me is like, is this what Ancient Dungeon is going to become at some point? I mean, you just added NPCs recently, and it just seems like it's getting bigger and bigger. Even that kind of like lobby area is getting bigger and bigger. And so I guess what I'm asking is something like that possible for an Ancient Dungeon 2, or do you envision Ancient Dungeon getting just that big all on its own?
I mean, there's a few implementation issues with how we like did the multiplayer and stuff. So if we ever would do an Ancient Dungeon 2, a lot of things would be different. But I still think the game, like at least this year and probably next year as well, will still be worked on. But everything always takes longer than you think it does. We had like early access, like when does the game leave early access? We had like the first thing was 2021, then I changed it to 2022. Now it's 2026, and it's still not done. But like it's kind of like arbitrary when you like do a cutoff point and say this is like the full release, because you just add new stuff on top of it. Like the arena mode was never planned until like a few weeks before it was released. So there's scope creep. We have a lot of scope creep. But I definitely want to improve the home base experience. There's so many things. The thing is, like with these type of games, you can in theory just keep adding to it. There's like no end.
Right.
But at some point, you probably have to end it.
When it doesn't make financial sense anymore, you got to end it, right?
I guess, yeah. But I mean, it's kind of a risk, right? I don't know if if you would release an Ancient Dungeon 2. I mean, if you would start now, you probably won't release it for like another 2 years or even longer. How will the VR market look then? And like, will a new game have like this big of an impact as like a game that's been out forever and is really high up in like many of the top games list, side quest, like even then, like many of the aggregators, because the game was out really early, like most of them still show the game as a really high up title, so it just gets natural traffic and still sells. Like if the VR market does well and a lot of people buy headsets, the game also does well. If like you could really see like when Meta increased the price of the Quest 2, I think back in the day, like you could see a drop in like actual sales on the game because just less people bought a Quest. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably a huge risk to do another game. So I don't know. As long as this game does well, we probably keep adding to it for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
And so, I mean, the PSVR 2 headset price just keeps dropping, right? We keep seeing it drop to $350, and then it's like $300, and it's like, we keep seeing great deals on it. So you're seeing, apparently, I'm guessing, spikes in sales around those times as well.
I haven't really checked that much because, to be honest, PlayStation VR is not a huge part of the sales. It's like 10% of the whole game sales. And I think lifetime it's 5%, but I mean that's because PSVR launched later in the life cycle.
Lifetime sales of Ancient Dungeon have only been 5 to 10%. Wow, okay.
Yeah, but the 2025 sales, it's like 10, 11% is PSVR 2. So it's not huge, but it is well rated. People like it. I think it has a really high... You have to convince people to play the game because it looks the way it looks. And everyone underestimates the game, I think. Like, so many people think, well, this looks like shit. And then they play it and it's like, okay, I didn't expect it to be this good. So I think it's a tough sell to many PlayStation players. Like, I've read some comments on like when the trailers gets announced, like, oh no, not this mobile crap, and oh, what about the graphics? I want realistic graphics. Like, and people even comment, okay, this game, but with realistic graphics would be amazing. It's like, oh yeah, probably, but I don't know.
I mean, listen,
we'll never know.
It kind of looks amazing as is. I mean, just the resolution and the frame rate that it's running at on PSVR 2, it looks so good in the headset. And then you add the nice lighting effects and all that. And I kind of think it's beautiful in its own way, right? Because if it was,
it definitely looks great in a headset, but it's hard to sell on like flat screen. I think it can look dull, or like the depth is hard to portray.
Yeah, big time.
I think that's like it's like pretty difficult to kind of get a good screenshot for the game or like gameplay videos. But as with most games, there's many games that look meh on flat screen, but then you like put on the headset and it's like, oh wow, okay, this looks actually pretty cool. But it's hard to sell that way.
Have you ever put a demo out?
Yeah, there was like basically that's how the game started. I think it was there was like a free demo on itch.io for like more than a year, I think. And then when App Lab came out, the game also launched on App Lab as a demo or like a beta. And that's basically how the game got into all like the huge like top lists because it got so many downloads back then. And then we transitioned to an early access release after like 1 or 2 years. And then we went from there. It was more than 4 years ago already, so maybe this year we finally do a full release.
Let's keep the questions rolling in, man. We got holy crap, we got Texatron, the boopable game cat. What's up? Haven't seen you in a bit. He says with the $2 says, when will we see crossplay between PSVR 2, PC, and Quest? Does this all have play any part in your collaboration with Maze Theory, right? Because like you didn't start working with them until the PSVR 2 port came around, right?
Yeah. So the game is self-published, but the Sony requirements are so annoying and hard to read through that I partnered with Maze to, like, I still did the porting at least for the first non-multiplayer version, but they just published it and like did all of the setting up and the whole backend stuff on PlayStation, and it's, I don't know, it was just too much work for me alone to do that. But now, like, once multiplayer came out, we partnered also with Nellyvision, who also work with Maze, but they like the porting for the game now, because also like I'm alone here, so like I can't even test multiplayer on PSVR because I'm like the only person with a dev kit. So yeah, you need someone else to like do the porting, do the multiplayer testing. Yeah, so they like Maze is basically only responsible for the PSVR side of things, and the rest is still just us. Yeah, so with crossplay, that's like just a huge like requirement thing. Like you need to like have ban lists so you can ban people. You need to be able to only play with PSVR players. There's a lot of other smaller things like which are all possible to do. But the issue is that since PSVR only is 10% of like the total sales, basically having like the porting team implementing like the whole crossplay functionality, I don't know if it's worth it. Like we will do it at some point. Like we're slowly getting towards it because we also have like Unity gaming services now in the background. So we could in theory also implement a ban list on like Quest and Steam. So then we could also use that for PSVR. But it's just like a really small, like it's a really slow process. Like it's not like we're actually actively working on crossplay, but it will at some point be easier to put in than it will be now. And once you do crossplay, now you need to look into, okay, now we need to like time the updates. Like now everyone needs the updates at the same time. So when we kind of like have a final release, then we need to give it to the porting team and then they need to, it just gets a lot more complicated. So we kind of probably want to keep that for like a 1.0 release, because after 1.0, we might not do as many updates. So it's more stable. But yeah, it's kind of an issue with, is it financially worth it to actually do that? Probably not, but it's definitely something you want to put in just because it just feels like then it's complete. Then the game's kind of complete. So yeah, it's like very difficult. Like it's very easy for Quest and Steam. You just let them connect and like no one cares. Like no, there's no requirements. And then Sony comes like, oh no, hold up. There's like many small things you need to look at. And that can be a bit annoying. Navigating.
And I think this kind of answers Mr. Gamblerman's question too. So how come you guys focus on the MetaQuest rather than the PSVR 2? And it's because it's just easier to get shit done over there?
Yeah. Steam and Quest, they don't really have any requirements except the game runs and doesn't have viruses. I mean, there were like more requirements on Quest, but they kind of just threw them out of the window. Yeah, and Steam is also pretty lenient on things. Especially if you release an update on Steam and Quest, you can like really easily just release them. And on PSVR, it's always like the issue. Okay, is like if there's too much content you add, then you can't just do a patch. You need to like go through validation again. Like it's really like archaic system kind of. It's more like set up for like a huge company and not like indie developers. And then because of the porting team, like there's always like communication overhead, so it takes a bit longer. And then we often do hot fixes. So we don't want to like pay the porting teams 5 times to do 5 different hot fixes. So we mostly just do a hot fix or 2 and then release on PSVR later. So we have to do less hot fixes. So that's kind of why PSVR always lags behind like 1 or 2 weeks. Same with, we did a hotfix a few days ago, and now probably this week, hopefully, we do the hotfix on PSVR, just because we're now sure it's stable, and then we release on PSVR later.
It's more work to get on PSVR too, but it is your favorite headset, obviously, right?
The colors are amazing, but the persistence on the screen is, I don't know, like when you look left and right, like it just wobbles. It is so weird. Like the black parts, like maybe I'm just a bit sensitive to this, but because like the headset is so bright, like the pixels are like the persistence of the display or something is really, really high. So if you look left and right, like there's this weird lagging behind depending on how bright the pixels are. And it's really weird. And then the sweet spot is really low. And it's like, there's so many good things about the PlayStation VR 2, but like there's no perfect headset, which is really sad.
I feel like we're one generation from kind of getting the best of all worlds, right? Trust me, like I have my complaints about PSVR 2, and I've got my Quest 3 sitting behind me, which I think has some the lenses are great and the sweet spot's much bigger and all that stuff, right? But it's like, man, like I'm not a fan of. This sounds crazy to say I'm not a fan of wireless headsets, right? Or I guess I should say standalone headsets. I want the power to come from the $700 console I bought.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping next gen that like we kind of
Hopefully, yeah.
it all starts kind of coming together a little bit more.
Like it's definitely the most immersive headset. I feel like if you're in a game, like if I usually like only play on Quest 3, maybe like Quest 2 for like testing on like lower end hardware. But I mean, I have like most of the headsets, but I basically only have Quest 3 and PSVR that I like test or play on.
Yeah.
Because Quest 3 kind of is like the jack of all trades, basically. But like comparing the game in Quest 3 to PSVR 2, it's like the OLED really makes like the blacks come out, and it really works well in the game. And like just a higher field of view just makes you feel like so immersed in the game. It's kind of weird. Like when I played, I always noticed like some differences in the headset, but after like a few minutes, it definitely feels the most immersive because like it also like blacks out your vision completely because you can't really see, like believe it because of this soft material, like the plastic thing.
Yeah,
it's really cool. Yeah, but it's a hassle to set up, so I'm mostly using the Quest.
I put you in the hot seat. I was like, yeah, I knew the answer wasn't going to be, oh yeah, PSVR 2 is definitely my favorite, but I had to throw it out there and see. I wanted to get an honest answer, and I'm glad you gave me one. VR industry is kind of in a weird place right now, man, and I'm a little bit curious to know your thoughts on it, about everything that's happening. PlayStation themselves don't seem like they're out there, at least front facing, not supporting the headset that much, right? We know that they're funding certain projects behind the scenes, some big things like Microsoft Flight Simulator, that kind of stuff. We wouldn't have gotten Resident Evil, either one of them, if it wasn't for them. But they're not putting out first party games. And then Meta just shut down a bunch of first party studios. Things are looking kind of dire out there. Hey, Miles Dyer, he's in the chat. What's up?
Hi.
And what are your thoughts, man? Are you worried about the future of VR? You think we're just maintain this niche status for a little while longer? Where do you think we're heading?
Honestly, I don't know. It's weird. I feel like the thing is like there's like lots of doom on the like that people like spread about like the VR, like VR gaming is dead or like everything's going down. Mm-hmm. But like, I mean, sure, like especially like you see it in the sales and like how the game performs, and the game is performing worse than 2 or 3 years ago, but it's still like doing relatively well. Like we can still like the team has still grown, who work on Ancient Dungeon, and like the company is still doing good, but like we haven't really grown like to like many games like when VR was like many companies when VR had like this spike and like this artificial money pumped in by Meta. Like they grow huge, and now they're laying off tons of people because like the expected growth isn't there. But like we always like stayed pretty small and lean, so it doesn't really affect us. I mean, sure, we make less money, but we still make more money than we spend, so we're doing well. And I think this will kind of hopefully continue. Like I don't think like the huge peaks from like a few years ago they are gone, but like the baseline is still pretty solid. There's like tons of people playing VR, and those people hopefully keep playing VR and keep buying games. I kind of wonder like what Meta is doing now, because they like laid off a lot of stuff. I mean, it seems like they have like a priority shift, like they've discontinued Horizon Worlds, all of that weird stuff that they shoved into the headset. So maybe there's like some kind of refocusing on actual sustainability in like VR. But I don't know. I mean, it definitely like it kind of makes sense because VR is so small. It doesn't really make sense to like build AAA games for it. But on the other hand, you kind of need that external funding to like get games that people want to play. It's like a chicken and egg problem, and it's still the same like after 10 years, which is kind of weird. I mean, like one thing I found interesting, like when Half-Life Alyx released, like there was this graph of like how many people were online in VR at the same time, and like it was like such a huge peak, like 40,000-50,000 more people when Alyx released. Like so many people got a headset because of Half-Life Alyx, and I feel like if the momentum kept going, VR would maybe be bigger, but I don't know. I think the whole shift to like standalone, it like changed so many things.
I feel like,
but I honestly don't know.
I feel like you nailed it with the chicken and the egg issue, right? But then you have Meta, who literally tried to put the egg first, like for years, right? And you just, that's not sustainable. And so I really feel like if Meta was doing it for years and it just didn't pay off, we had all these great, all these great first party games, and it didn't pay off, then it's like, well, they kind of tested that theory for Sony, and for Valve even, to show that, like, hey, you can throw a AAA game at your headset every couple of years, or a couple of them every year, and probably still isn't going to pay off. Like, you really need to find a studio. I was going to say a studio that just has billions of dollars to throw at the industry, to kind of make it happen. But again, it didn't work with Meta. So you got to kind of wonder what the friction is and what's keeping people from adopting VR in droves.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I think there's like multiple things. Like, headsets need to get smaller, like more comfortable. Like, it's still like in this, it's still kind of in this phase of like the how's it called? Like, basically the enthusiasts, they get them and like they play a lot and they tinker around with it. But then Meta kind of tried to like force it to be mainstream while it was still a bit too early, I feel like. I mean, like, the Quest 1 was meh. Quest 2 was okay. Quest 3 is actually kind of decent.
Agreed. All counts.
But yeah, it's like they kind of made artificial demand. Like, I have so many friends that got a Quest headset and basically just played it with like 2 or 3 weeks and then just put it in the closet and never opened it again. Like, most of my friends, they just find playing games on like their PlayStation or Xbox, or just on their PC. Like, they're too lazy to put on a Quest or like a PC VR headset, which is kind of sad.
I mean, it's kind of sad, but it's also a little bit understandable. Like, I mean, I find myself playing VR games for the channel, and then when I'm not doing that, I grab my Switch 2 and I'm like in bed watching TV and playing in handheld mode, right? And that's because it's so convenient and so easy.
Yeah,
like zero friction. And I'm somebody who's been covering VR for a decade now. You would think that all I'm playing is VR all the time, and it's just not the case.
I'm also developing VR games and almost don't play VR games. It's kind of weird. Like, I sometimes force myself to play something to see, like, okay, I actually need to know what people are playing, or like what's good. And there's sometimes games that I really like and I actually play, but I have to like force myself to play them, which is kind of weird because usually you shouldn't need to do that. I think, yeah, it's a weird situation. But like, then some things, like, I got the Apple Vision Pro like a few months ago, and I sometimes use that to watch something on like the virtual screen because like the screen is so good. So I actually started using it more just because it's on a level of quality that's so good that it's like worth it to like put on instead of like doing something on a TV, because I can just lay down in bed and like have the huge screen like in front of me. So I don't know, maybe the technology just needs to like get even better or like even smaller,
and even cheaper.
Maybe cheaper, yeah. But I mean, even the cheap Quest deals, like, they also don't. They never really like got that far.
I just feel like if PSVR 2 was somehow like $200, it would just be a no-brainer for people to be like, I just spent $700 on a Pro. Yeah, of course I'm going to spend the extra $200 to play whatever VR stuff I can.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think $300 is a great price for it, but I totally understand people who aren't already in the ecosystem being hesitant.
It's definitely a lot of friction to like get started, and then like once you're in, you definitely try out and play games. But yeah, I notice it on myself. Like, sometimes I'm just too lazy to like search for VR games or like look into something, and you just play something that's like popular currently, like, I don't know, Clair Obscur, like, which came out, well, some of the like really popular AAA games, because everyone plays them, and like you need to like see, okay, well, what is this everyone's talking about? And you never really got that on VR, except maybe like Beat Saber, Half-Life Alyx. Like, some of these games maybe had like the same wow factor of, okay, everyone needs to play this. But most games don't, for some reason.
Yeah. Most games don't. And the crazy thing is that like I feel like we have some games on PSVR 2 that are just like absolutely mind-blowing, like must play. We launched with Gran Turismo 7 and Resident Evil Village, and both of those are to this day absolutely mind-blowing. I went back and played Village the other day, and I was just like couldn't believe it. right? Here we are 3 years into the PSVR 2 lifespan, and I'm just marveling at how great a launch title was, right? Sadly, it's because we haven't gotten a lot of AAA games since then. So, yeah. All right, we should probably get back to talking about Ancient Dungeon now. Let me just scroll through. Did you see any questions from the chat that you want to answer? And I do apologize, guys. Obviously, something seems like it's wrong with YouTube. Scott was saying that some of his chats are not going through. So my apologies for anyone who's struggling. You guys have done some collaborations. Are you going to do any more in the future?
Probably, yeah. We did like some bundles. We're now doing like a Deadly Delivery bundle with them, and add like a cosmetic in like each game. Just some small fun thing to do like while we're working on another update. You probably do more if any games want to collab.
Yeah, you got to convince the Deadly Delivery guys to bring their game to PSVR 2. That game looks so fun.
Yeah. Maybe they're working on it. Who knows?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't think they are.
It's a tough sell for many people because there's also requirements involved.
Any chance that you're going to include trophies with any future updates? People love their trophies.
Yeah, trophies in PSVR is a fun and annoying endeavor. It's weird. Like, if I want to add a trophy on Quest or Steam, I'll just add it. That's it. On PlayStation, that's not how it works. Because, like, you have trophies, and they have, like, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum, I think. Mm-hmm. And, like, most trophies are already bronze, because the only, like, and, like, each trophy is, like, worth a different amount of points. And you need to, like they have to add up to, like, between, like, 800 and 1,000 or something. So when the first version of the game released on PSVR, I basically had to do almost all achievements that we already had to have to be like bronze, so we could even get all of them in. And now every time, like now when you want to add more, you can't do that easily because you have to kind of like do a DLC thing, or like you can also like add small trophy packs to updates, but it's limited to like 3 or 4 per update. So like there might be a way of like somehow adding all of them, but we have like 20 or 30 new milestones since like the game released, so we can't really put them in. And like even now we have like an issue where in the current update you can't get free trophies because we reworked some parts of the milestones, like the quest system, so we removed a few milestones, and now you need to go to Sony support to like actually change the trophies, which we're now in the process of doing. So we will name some trophies and like kind of do a hacky way around. So yeah, I would like to add more trophies, but it's a really difficult thing, and I don't even know exactly how it works. It's just a big black box. But yeah, like you're not allowed to add as many trophies as you want. That's kind of the issue. And we do have like 57 or 60 different achievements, but like only 40 or 35 of them are trophies because of all the updates that the game had. So just one example of really weird ways how Sony works.
Yeah, it just feels like Sony's getting in their own way constantly, and just making life difficult for developers in the process. Obviously, yeah. I think so many more studios would want to bring their games over to PSVR 2 if they didn't, if they hadn't heard from everybody on the face of the planet that it's like a nightmare sometimes. I've talked to developers who are like, I will not name the game, but I talked to one developer who brought their game over and was like, if I knew it was going to be like this, I wouldn't have even fucking started. But then his game sold a lot, and he was like, everything turned out okay.
Yeah, it's just, you don't even know where to start. It's like, I don't know why it is this difficult. Like for Steam and Quest, it's like you just have documentation, it's easy. And like I didn't even know where to find documentation on PlayStation. Like I had to ask my publisher, like, where can I even get started on this? Like this is so weird. I basically just talked to people who knew how to do this stuff, and they told me how to do it. Like it's crazy. I don't.
Yeah. That's a great. That is a great thing about the about VR community and developers and everything. When people have already gone through the process and they're willing to help each other out, it's a really great thing.
Yeah.
Gothic Arcane with the 249 says, Eric, I would love a Vagrant Story style game, please. Have you ever played Vagrant Story on PlayStation 1?
No, I've never heard of that.
It was good. It was
a good game.
It was back in the day when Squaresoft was doing just whatever the fuck they wanted. They were making action RPGs like Brave Fencer Musashi, but they were putting out traditional JRPGs like Xenogears and Chrono Cross and 3 Final Fantasy games. They were doing strategy RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics. And then, so they were just kind of like doing crazy shit. And Vagrant Story was one of the crazy shit things that they did. And it was beautiful. Great RPG.
Ah, yeah. Seeing some screenshot of it. Looks cool.
Yeah. So do that instead of Ancient Dungeon 2.
Oh my god, I don't even want to think about the next game.
Your geekness with the $2 says the VR problem is similar to 3D TV's problems with adoption, he thinks. So probably too expensive, and they're a little bit. 3D TVs were kind of cumbersome, right? It was like you'd have to wear the glasses.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't even think you could lay down on your couch and watch TV if you wanted to. I think you had to maintain uprightedness.
Oh yeah, probably. I never had one. Like, I didn't even know anyone who had. Oh, maybe I knew someone, but like, yeah, it was like a gimmick. Everyone like put on the glasses once for like a movie, and then that was it.
Yeah, I used to go to Best Buy and just sit there on the display couch and display TV with the 3D glasses and just sit there for 20 minutes until they were like, you can't just stay here all day. And I'm like, oh, I think
that's kind of cool. Oh, sorry. Yeah, what was kind of cool is like now they have like some screens that are kind of 3D, but like without the glasses.
Yeah,
that was kind of cool, but also like still a gimmick. But it's kind of cool, like playing games in 3D on a flat screen.
Yeah, I still use my 3DS.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah, I've never had that one. That also existed. Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got here? We got Mustang 750 with the $1. Thank you so much for your contribution. We love you guys very much. I got a couple more questions here before we let Eric go. User JA2P3R says, "Will there ever be a healer class?"
Probably not, because the game is kind of like it's at least it was a single player game, and it's still a single player game first. So we're mostly not really like support classes and all that stuff. It might be interesting to like get more like strategy into like multiplayer gaming, but we currently at least trying to have the least amount of actual like separation between multiplayer and single player, so you can play the game fully in both cases. So adding like a healer class or like supporter class into the game is a more multiplayer focused thing. So it's not on the roadmap, basically. Sure. Yeah.
You did mention sort of a rough roadmap earlier that I think you said is publicly available. I have not seen this. Is there anything noteworthy that would be worth?
So basically the final boss that we have right now is not the final boss. Like basically like how most of the roguelikes do it, we kind of still want to have like a hidden floor or like a hidden level, maybe more, but at least one beneath the actual final boss, where you kind of like need to like do some prerequisites to actually get there. In terms of how you get there, I don't know yet, but like, for example, like in some games, like Isaac, for example, you have to like kill like Mom's Heart, I think 9 times to like unlock the later levels. So it could be something like that, or like you need to like do some sort of things in like each of the floors to like get there. So it's something like you shouldn't get on your first run in the game, but you should get after like, I don't know, 5 to 10 hours of gameplay. So it's like more challenge. Like once you actually know the game, it gets harder. Like there's more stuff to do. There's actually more floors, and it's not just ending. Because right now you sometimes get the occasional hardcore player who basically finishes the game in the first run.
Right.
And it's like, well, that was it. That's why I paid $20 for. It's like, dude, this is not the whole game, but you somehow made it through the whole dungeon in like your first try. So that's definitely something that should not happen. So there should be more content gated behind at least a bit of gameplay and a bit of strategy. So that's, I guess, the biggest thing. And then there's some things like saving multiplayer runs that we're working on, host migration, more alt floors, more like a new game plus rework, because right now it's pretty dull. Yeah, more NPCs, more stuff to do, more cosmetics, more augments. Yeah, there's tons of things on there, and it's changing all the time. So
nice.
We even want to we're working the world generation to like be more interesting. We want to do some like slight distraction mechanic, but I don't know about performance still. Where you kind of like when you throw like a bomb or like do like a heavy impact on the wall, it actually like shatters and like shows like some destruction on there. But yeah, that's like the most of the things. There's like way more stuff on there, but the game will never get finished if we do all of them. So we have to kind of prioritize. Maybe daily runs as well at some point, high scores. Who knows?
Daily runs would be really cool.
Yeah, it's on the list forever, but we want to do it at some point.
Just like Spelunky. Sorry, I didn't mean to do it. I still play Spelunky every day. No. Yeah, no, it's funny that you mentioned that some people are able to just blast through on their first try, because I mean, it took me forever to beat Ancient Dungeon, but yet I know people like Dan, who's hiding in the chat here, who beat Cosmo Dread. Right? It was like it took me hours and hours and hours, so many runs, crafting and unlocking new weapons, and then dying after a couple floors, and slowly unlocking the story and the lore, and then finding out at the right moments like some of the monsters' weaknesses. So after hours of playing, you're like, oh wait, there's a way to keep them from respawning. Like that everything about that game hit me at the exact right time, just the way it was supposed to, and it took me the exact number of runs I think that I was supposed to. And then Dan's like, oh yeah, I beat it on like my second try or something, and I was like, what? What? So it's really hard, man. It's really hard to gauge like the skill level of your players, and then
it's almost impossible. Yeah, there's people that like never make it past the second floor, and they're like, this is impossible. And then there's other people that play like 2 runs and basically beat it, and it's like, oh yeah, this is really easy. And then they like ask people, or like do like, then you look at like analytics, and like okay, so I don't know, 25% of people beat the beast on like achievements. So is that a lot? Is that not a lot? We don't really know. But like, and then like you ask people what's your favorite weapon, and then like they're split on like most of the weapons, and it's kind of like, which is kind of good, because some people are like, oh yeah, this weapon is shit, this doesn't make, I don't like it. And then another one is like, no, this is like the best weapon in the game. I guess that's a good thing to have, because people just prefer different playstyles, and it means like that they're mostly balanced. But it's a lot of guesswork. You don't really know, and you add like new stuff, and you can't really test all that. Like you mostly just watch let's plays of other people and see how well they do, because like the game, you can't really gauge like any of the difficulty you're actually implementing.
We got Niles Ryan with the $5. What's up? Ryan says, for the dev, that's you. Says, have you considered using the same voxel graphics to make a similar looking yet different game? Would love something more linear.
Yes, well, consider. I mean, there's like tons of ideas that always float around your head, but you never want to do them because you actually want to like complete that game first.
Right.
But like one thing I really wanted to do at some point is like, I mean, same thing with like back in the day, there were no really like any like Binding of Isaac type roguelikes. Why is there no Hollow Knight type game? Like, sure, there's maybe some Metroidvanias, but I don't even know about any Metroidvanias, at least games like those on VR. Why aren't there any? It's kind of weird.
I don't know.
And that's something I really want to do, but I feel like a single player game in this, I mean, you could also do it multiplayer, but then it's more difficult again. But would this sell? I don't know. Maybe like a few hours, maybe like a 5 to 10 hour small game for like $5 for fun.
Yeah,
would be cool. But I just don't have the time to do them. But I feel like it would be so cool. Like I like all the Ancient Dungeon mechanics and like the whole engine we kind of build up now, with like the multiplayer stuff and all the things that there is. Like I feel like it would be really cool to do something like that. But that would be like another 1 or 2 years of just work, and you don't even know if that would like turn to something that would be cool. But same with like then open world games.
Down, man. Yeah,
there's like so many things you could do, but there's like not enough time. But yeah, I've considered different ideas. I still don't know. You could do so many things with like the Ancient Dungeon framework. You could do a Vampire Survivors type game. because the combat is fun. You could do so many things, even like a Terraria clone. I don't know. But it's all just ideas, and they never really make it that far, like to actually start doing something, because it's always like the thing of, okay, first finish Ancient Dungeon, then maybe do a DLC, and then think about something else.
Yep. Dude, I just run a YouTube channel, and I kind of feel your pain, right? There's like 1,000 videos I would rather be making every single day, than the thing I'm just doing. But then you're like, I can't even start that, because when will I finish it? So,
yeah.
Kind of understand.
Definitely.
DD70857, I think I got that right, says, will Ancient Dungeon ever come to the flat screen? Which I think is a fair question. More and more studios are doing this. We just saw Alien Rogue Incursion come to the flat screen. We just saw Seventh Guest VR just get announced for the flat screen, called Seventh Guest Remake. So your game is good enough, man. Like I think you've added so much over the years that I think it can stand on its own even on the flat screen. Any chance you're considering it?
I definitely did. I just don't know if it would be like, could it still be like first person or like third person and like the same thing, or would it need to be like a bigger change, like maybe making it top down, but like still having like many of the same things, but like making it more like arcadey, more like not entirely sure like how much you would need to like port to actually like how much do you need to change the game to like adapt it to flat screen that it's still fun? Like, would it need to be more fast paced? Do you need to like change dungeon layouts? Do you need to make it bigger? Do you need to I definitely want to play around with that at some point, but yeah, I just feel like if you port the game like 1-to-1 to like flat screen and like maybe like give you like a first person view, I don't know if that would be fun. I mean, we have like some sort of first person debug mode in the game currently in flat screen where you can like run around the game, but you basically just like, it's not that great. So honestly, I don't know. It's basically something we need to like try out and see if it's actually fun. Because it would be an interesting idea, because you basically, people know the game. There's like a fan base for it. So it will definitely at least sell a bit.
Yeah.
But is it a good game then? I don't know. It's maybe I'm a bit too perfectionistic about like some things. That's why the game takes this long to actually get done. But it's definitely something I want to try out. Yeah.
The chat's curious about it too. Infinite Loop says, I think it already fits into that boomer shooter niche that people already love, which is cool. Yeah, just the way that it is. And then Cerebral Frost says, I think the way I would try it is to keep it first person, then just animate the various attacks, aiming them with the crosshair. It would at least be easy to try and see if it works. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Looper says, make it 2D top down. Everyone's got ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's different ideas, like they top down, or like first person, and then like how far do you zoom out? Do you make it more like a hack and slash with like tons of enemies swarming you, or is it really like keep it like small? And so many things you could try, and like,
yeah. And then once you do that, and then once you make a top-down version of Ancient Dungeon, then you got to port it back into VR so we can play it that way in our headset with the DualSense controller.
Oh my god!
It's the flat screen VR version.
The VR game flat screen in VR again.
Exactly. Like Street Fighter the movie, the game. Jesse Prothman 4349 says, any chance of getting this on a physical disc? Has anybody reached out to you like that, like a limited run type place, or anyone?
No, not really. No.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I think back in the day before like the game even was on PSVR, what are they called, like Perp Games, I think, reached out to like they wanted to put Ancient Dungeon on PSVR, but then they basically said, well, no, our CEO doesn't think the game fits their product palette, so they didn't want to keep pursuing it. So then I was like, well, then I do it myself. But yeah, so I think maybe they would do something like that, but no, they were never really like, there wasn't really any talk about like doing physical. Would be cool, but yeah, probably small.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot more places these days that would do it. I know Serenity Forge. Shoot, I forgot. I'm supposed to do an unboxing of a Serenity Forge physical game, so I can get that at some point. Yeah, there's a lot of places that do this kind of stuff. So it's not just Perp anymore. Although Perp, I will say, held up PSVR 1 physicals all by themselves last gen. That was crazy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then I want to finish off with this comment from Gothic Arcane that says, "Your game is amazing, Eric. Thank you." And I do have to say he speaks for everybody, because everybody who's actually played your game, Eric, we love it, and we love how much care and love was put into the PSVR 2 version. It's just everything from the way that it looks to the way that it feels. I personally love boss fights. It just felt like a game that was, like I said, it's kind of like made for me, and I never get sick of it. When I play, I want to do new game plus. I just don't want to stop. And so, thank you very much, man. We all love it.
Yeah, thank you for the positive reception. There's almost only been positive comments about the game, and your review helped a lot with exposure to the game, because I think many people could not believe that a blocky game could get this good of a rating, which is kind of funny. So yeah, no, it's great. The game will continue being developed. It will hopefully get finished at some point. There's too many good ideas floating around to continue working on. But as long as the game does well, there's no reason to stop, basically. It's still fun developing it after, oh my God, 7 years.
I mean, at this point, that's a significant chunk of your life. You got to...
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to be paying close attention to the updates that you still have planned, and of course, when you do finally announce a sequel or the next game that you're working on, we're going to be paying close attention to that too. And so, congrats on everything so far, and we wish you the best.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. We'll see you tomorrow for Gamescast Live. Can we? Oh, I forget. Everybody that watches, our viewers, they're called the Game Cats. And so, is there any chance we could get you to meow and swipe? Just do a big meow for us. Meow. Thanks. I'll put you on the spot. You had to do it. Good night, everybody. We love you all.
Night.